the thought of barbecues and cookouts can make mouths water, but unfortunately for the 50 million Americans who suffer from frequent heartburn, summer is the time when they are most likely to feel its effects.
Indeed, but folks, help is on the way, my friends. I spoke with gastroenterologist Dr. Sue Satcher about how to prevent and treat heartburn. Take another bite and take a look. Okay, Dr. Satcher, first off, explain what heartburn is. We all know it's, our throat feels like it's on fire, but what is actually happening there physically when someone experiences heartburn?
Well, heartburn is when the door at the top of your stomach stays open. And that door is supposed to keep the acid in your stomach. But as a result, that acid splashes back into your esophagus, otherwise known as your food pipe, and causes that discomfort you're talking about, particularly in your chest.
Why do some people get, like I get heartburn infrequently, but almost always from the same things, but not always, but some people suffer from this constantly. Why is that?
Well, genetics always plays a role in everything, but some trigger foods trigger some people, and other people don't have a problem with it. For example, I have patients who could eat a whole pizza and not feel a drop of acid, and then I have others who just look at it and it already kicks up that acid production. So that's why sometimes keeping a food diary is crucial to patients to know what really is going to set off their acid.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm in the category where I could eat a whole pizza, I'm fine, but if I have half a glass of champagne, I mean, my throat's on fire. Talk about some of the myths surrounding heartburn.
Well, there are common misconceptions out there, and one of them is drinking milk is good for heartburn. And though it temporarily does relieve your symptoms, in the long run it actually ends up increasing acid production, so it really doesn't help with the acid. The next thing is that people think there's no correlation between smoking and heartburn when there's a direct correlation. And lastly, it's unfortunate, but a lot of people think they have to live with frequent heartburn and that there's no good solution to it, when in actuality there's a great over-the-counter remedy, Prilosec OTC, which does the job.
Well, and let's talk about that a little bit more. And also something that I've found is great in an emergency if you don't have Prilosec or a product like that with you, is just taking a little bit of vinegar. But my wife tried that, and that just made her sick. So for a lot of people, medication is the only choice. Tell us a little bit more about Prilosec.
Well, personally in my practice, I do highly recommend Prilosec OTC because one pill a day for 14 days blocks that acid that causes frequent heartburn. So you're not playing catch up in that vicious cycle of heartburn and then treating it. You're actively protecting yourself from that acid in the first place.
So this is something you would take, as you said, on a regular basis, and then it will last in general for how long? It sounds like we're trying to head heartburn off before it starts.
Exactly. So if you know you're going to that summer barbecue or somewhere else where there might be food or drinks that you enjoy, it's good to take it beforehand to protect yourself, and it can protect you for 24 hours.
Talk about some of the detrimental effects of leaving heartburn untreated. Can it lead to ulcers? Can it lead to the esophagus eroding and throat damage and so forth?
Well, that's a great point, because if you do have continuous heartburn and it's not being adequately treated, it can change the lining of your esophagus into a precancerous condition called Barrett's esophagus. That, as I mentioned, can lead to esophageal cancer. The other thing that acid can cause is erosions or ulcers in your esophagus, which can cause severe chest pain and can even cause bleeding in some people.
Can your body weight, can your physical body weight have anything to do with the frequency of your heartburn?
It sure does. Being overweight and obese actually pushes up your abdominal fat, or your abdominal, that girth right there, pushes up on that door that's supposed to stay shut and keeps it open so that you have a longer duration of acid reaching your esophagus and causing symptoms.
It seems like with a lot of things, we as Americans love to overindulge, but in general, in so many instances, like with heartburn, moderation is the key. Dr. Sue Satcher, thank you so much for your time with us today and your good advice.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure. Have a great day.
So if you were watching at the beginning of the show, we've covered, indulging, we've covered weight loss, and now we've covered heartburn. So we've taken you, sort of around the world gastronomically thus far.
And now after the break, we're going to